Contents of this issue of the Bulletin are divided into the following main section headings. Intro. President's Page by Paul Mims. Legislative Update by Alec Libben. Executive Director's Message by Donald D. Overton, Jr. Guiding Lights. A Tribute to the Guardians of Freedom by Stephen D. Butler. Destination Jacksonville, March 28th recognizes BVA pioneers, past and present. BVA's treasured emblem. Unveiling, Around BVA, Auxiliaries View by Robert Murphy. Veterans Service Program Update by Dwayne Driscoll. A Glimpse of the Big Picture by Meredith Buono de Grossa. Recipe for Aging Well by Pascal Baute. Of Note, In Remembrance, and The Final Thought. End of contents. Welcome to the audio version of the Spring 2024 BVA Bulletin, Volume 79, Number 2. Paul Mims of Kansas City, Missouri, is the National President of the Blinded Veterans Association. Wade Davis of LaPorte, Texas, is the organization's National Vice President. The National Secretary is Tracy Farrow of Biloxi, Mississippi, and Joseph Bogart of Meridian, Idaho, is the National Treasurer. Serving as District Directors are the following: Claudia Baldwin of Rockville, Maryland, representing District 1, Joseph Link of Norman, Oklahoma, Director of District 2, Douglas Ingram of Tallahassee, Florida, Director of District 3, and Randy Cantrell of Spokane, Washington, representing the veterans of District 4. The immediate past National President is Joseph D. McNeil, Sr. of Columbus, Georgia. Additional appointed officers are National Sergeant-at-Arms Brian O'Connell of Greenville, South Carolina, National Ombudsman Tenora Lynn Shannon of St. Clair Shores, Michigan, and National Judge Advocate Stephen Butler of Temple, Texas. The National Chaplain position is currently vacant. This issue's cover displays the commercial area of a large city that includes tall buildings and a bridge over a narrow but long-distance river. With the buildings illuminated, lights brilliantly shining on the water and bridge and the clouds in the sky also lit. The photo was almost certainly taken at sunset. The caption states, "Pictured at dusk, downtown Jacksonville, Florida, is known as the urban hub of Northeast Florida. The area's main business district is a quiet riverside area, known for its laid-back waterfront pubs and seafood grills at Jacksonville Landing, shopping and dining complex adjacent to the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville Riverfront." Additional details about the bold new city of the South and the BVA 79th National Convention are shared in this issue of the Bulletin. Photo courtesy of Visit Jacksonville. Photo. President's Page by Paul Mims. The President's Page is accompanied by two photos. The first is a thumbnail photo of Paul in a dark suit, dark tie, and a BVA garrison cap. There is no accompanying caption. The second photo, a much larger one, shows Paul shaking hands with a gentleman to his left who is holding up a small object at waist level that appears clear and crystal-like. The caption reads, "Paul Mims congratulates Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs Ranking Member Jerry Moran, RKS." On March 21st, Paul presented Senator Moran with BVA's Thomas H. Miller Guiding Legislator of the Year Award. The text of Paul's column begins, "Throughout my tenure on the BVA Board of Directors, I have heard both directly and indirectly that there is a gap in communication between the membership and the BVA Board of Directors, BVA National Headquarters. I had no problem believing that this was true, and so once I became the National President, I devised a plan to alleviate some of the disparity in communication that exists within the organization. The solution I came up with takes advantage of a name. We already have an organization, namely, Team BVA. I used the name Team BVA to create a team that is composed of the chairs of our programs. Those programs are the Women Veterans Outreach Program, the Adaptive Sports and Recreation Program, and the Blind Veteran Dog Handlers Program. There was also a Spiritual Outreach Program that has been suspended in order to refine certain aspects of that program before it is relaunched. All of these programs meet together virtually once each month under the direction and moderation of the BVA Vice President, currently Wade Davis. The program officiators disclose progress in their activities on a monthly basis, and at times discuss budget requests, program makeup, and content of the meetings of their program committees. The monthly meeting of each program is open to the entire BVA membership. During these meetings, information previously delivered from the Vice President to the program chairs at the Team BVA meeting is also dispersed to attending members. Likewise, During these meetings, it is an opportunity for the membership to share ideas with the program chairs regarding actions or activities that they would like to see implemented. The schedule of these meetings is on the calendar of events at bva.org. Following the process used at membership meetings, the process is ideally reversed. In other words, the program chairs bring what they gathered at their membership meetings to the Team BVA meeting. The vice president, moderating that meeting, captures the information and delivers a report to the BVA Board of Directors at their next meeting. If the BVA Board has information to direct to the membership, such is transmitted using the same communication channels, i.e. by way of the Vice President to Team BVA members, and then for delivery to BVA members at the next program meeting. Another touchpoint with Team BVA is with the National Treasurer, currently Joe Bogart. The National Treasurer has worked in conjunction with each and all of the Team BVA member chairs to assist them in the creation and development of their individual budgets for their programs. Those budgets have been submitted by way of the Treasurer to the National Board of Directors for approval. Upon approval of those budgets in the upcoming board meeting, the funds will be available to each of the programs for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024. The budgets assist the programs in developing, providing, and supporting activities throughout the year. For instance, support for BVA veterans attending adaptive sports events will be available through Adaptive Sports Program Chair Anthony Woodson. Similarly, the Women Veterans Program chaired by Yanika Trent and the Blind Veteran Dog Handlers Program, chaired by Michonne Harrison, will likewise develop and provide activities in their specific areas. To further expand the scope of communication within BVA, a couple of in-person sessions are planned for the BVA 79th National Convention. Both of these sessions have been designed for the education and information of our members. The first session will involve the BVA Board of Directors in a panel discussion format. The board will be open to questions from the membership in attendance. This will be an opportunity for BVA members to ask questions of board members and not have to wait for the communication to go through another layer to reach the board. The second event will also be a panel discussion setting involving the program chairs of Team BVA. As with the board, the chairs will be open to questions about their respective programs. With charter members and the first program chairs of Team BVA part of this relatively new initiative, it will be interesting to listen to their individual perspectives about what has worked well and what has not worked so well. Beyond these events and processes that I have outlined, I hope that all will realize that there is still an open door that beckons suggestions from our membership. Any suggestions and questions that a member might have may be directed through regional group officers, who should then forward the suggestion to the district director for that group. For members at large who do not belong to a regional group, the same opportunity is available by sending an email to info@bva.org. Alternatively, you can contact members of the board via their telephone numbers that are available as part of their biographical information at bva.org. The hope is that these new initiatives will greatly improve and enhance effective communication within the Blinded Veterans Association. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you in Jacksonville. Legislative Update by Alec Libben. Alec's legislative update is accompanied by his thumbnail photo at the top of the article. He also is dressed in formal business attire but without the BVA hat. Following the main text of Alec's write-up is a boxed list of the major points that support the Veterans Accessibility Act of 2023. The update begins. As many of our BVA members are already aware, the association has been championing a federal advisory committee to oversee and work with the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA, in its efforts to improve accessibility on many different levels. Through personal experience or reports from our fellow veterans, we know that VA is woefully lacking in accommodating blinded veterans. From inaccessible kiosks, non-trained staff, or even the simple task of reimbursing travel for care, there are too many areas in which VA has failed to adequately serve our population. This failure often prevents our veterans from fully receiving some of the benefits they have rightly earned as a result of their service and sacrifice. The numerous times veterans must jump through hoops can discourage them from getting the help they need, or, in more extreme situations, cause them to stop relying on the VA and give up on the broader healthcare system altogether. Enter the Federal Advisory Committee to remedy some of these ills. Membership on the proposed committee would include at least one blinded veteran, a disabled VA staff member, and experts in accessibility practices from academia, law firms that specialize in disability law, and personnel from other organizations, such as the American Council of the Blind, National Federation for the Blind, Paralyzed Veterans of America, etc., that advocate for the disabled. Under the legislation, the committee would meet twice a year to identify barriers affecting veterans, the public, and federal workers, reporting its findings and recommendations to the VA Secretary every year and a half. This report would, in turn, be published by the federal government to reveal the degree to which VA had been acting in good faith with the committee. It is important to remember that the challenges faced by blinded veterans while trying to get the care they need also frequently exist for VA employees who are faced with inaccessible systems, little to no meaningful technical support, and many other challenges that prevent them from being able to adequately serve veterans. The VA is greatly hindered when staff are forced to wait for weeks for simple fixes. Although the VA has taken steps to improve itself, the progress has occurred at a sluggish rate that in our view is inexcusable. For example, the VA has continued to knowingly order inaccessible hardware without providing accessible alternatives. The department has also failed to utilize an enterprise license that would prevent accessible hardware from becoming inaccessible when updates are made. Additionally, from a client service perspective, many VA staff have simply not received proper training on interacting with blind and low-vision veterans. At best, there is a lack of etiquette that can be offensive and, at worst, a serious breakdown in appropriately serving veterans that can cause them harm. This Federal Advisory Committee would break down these barriers. By involving those directly affected by inaccessibility, the VA would be made aware of the most urgent failings and prioritize the fixes accordingly. By involving accessibility experts, the committee would be able to advise the best practices of which the VA may be largely unaware. If implemented, the best practices would bring noteworthy improvements in the services provided. BVA is grateful for Senators Bob Casey, DPA, and Rick Scott, RFL, for introducing S. 2516, the Veterans Accessibility Act of 2023. The same appreciation goes to Representatives David Valadao, RCA 22, and Morgan McGarvey, DKY3, for introducing H.R. 7342, the Veterans Accessibility Advisory Committee Act. The strong support by these members of Congress moves the VA to action rather than relying on those involved to make the changes as they please. Rationale for S. 2516, Veterans Accessibility Act of 2023, extracted from Section 2. Congress finds the following. 1. More than 1/4 of veterans in the United States have a service-connected disability. 2. Common disabilities among veterans include traumatic brain injury, hearing loss, blindness or vision loss, and spinal cord injuries and disorders. 3. More than 60 million adults in the United States have a disability, including veterans, employees of the VA, and people who might seek information from the department for a veteran. 4. There were 125,163 veterans employed at the VA, including 70,209 veterans with a disability in fiscal year 2020, according to the Office of Personnel Management. 5. There are projected to be at least 80 million people aged 65 or older in the United States by 2040, twice the number than in 2000. Older adults experience higher rates of disability than younger adults. 6. More than 46% of veterans in the United States are 65 years old or older. 7. Physical, electronic, information, and communications technology must be accessible to ensure equal access to information and services at the VA. Such accessibility will grow in importance as the population of the United States ages and develops disabilities and new technologies are deployed. 8. Congress has required accessibility of daily life by passing laws such as the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, Sections 501, 504, and 508 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, the Plain Writing Act of 2010, the Architectural Barriers Act of 1968, and the 21st Century Integrated Digital Experience Act. 9. Recent oversight conducted by the Special Committee on Aging of the Senate found that the VA has not consistently made its electronic information technology accessible for people with disabilities, despite a requirement to do so under Section 508 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. 10. To ensure that the federal government is meeting the needs of veterans and employees with disabilities, as well as an aging public, Congress must create mechanisms to assess and gather information on federal compliance with provisions of law relating to accessibility for people with disabilities. Executive Director's message by Donald D. Overton, Jr. Don's one-page message also includes the usual thumbnail image depicting him in coat and tie. There is no descriptive caption with the photo. The write-up begins as follows. Many of the days we single out for commemoration or celebration this time of year, those such as Armed Forces Day, Memorial Day, D-Day, Flag Day, and Independence Day, turn my thoughts to the now millions of men and women who have willingly either answered the call or volunteered to serve our country on the battlefield. Every journey, every story, no matter how it culminates, involves at least some degree of sacrifice. Although you, my fellow veterans at BVA, were able to return home without rendering the ultimate sacrifice that others have and whom we recall on Memorial Day, many of you have sacrificed more than enough, losing your precious eyesight on the battlefield, or later on due to your service. Notwithstanding the depth of that service and sacrifice, I am certain that you would give even more now if called upon to do so. Last year, we called attention to one of our early BVA members, a true hero of our organization and an embodiment of the spirit of sacrifice. Robert A. Bob Bottenberg passed away in March 2023 at age 98, but his life came close to ending in April 1945, when he was hit and critically wounded by German mortar fire, an encounter that immediately robbed him of all his sight. Much the same was experienced by Leonard J. Sparazza, a BVA founding member who passed away earlier this year at age 99, almost 79 years after losing his sight. At age 19, just weeks after surviving wounds suffered on D-Day but with his eyes still perfect, Leonard found himself in enemy fire in Saint-Lô in northwestern France. After digging a hole for cover and while offering emotional support to a fellow soldier, a mortar shell exploded in front of him, blinding him totally and breaking his teeth. Leonard lived the rest of his life with fragments of shrapnel lodged in his face. Prior to their war injuries, Bob and Leonard witnessed the unimaginable horrors of World War II in some of the fiercest battles of the U.S. Army's European theater of operations. Instead of returning home embittered and downcast about the future and a new disability with which to cope, they both courageously rebuilt their lives with successful professions, families, and service to others. Many of our BVA members today have faced the same seemingly insurmountable obstacles as Bob and Leonard. They have not only never given up in bitterness, but would do it all again if necessary. I call your attention to Jeannie Murphy and her husband, Robert, and to Matthew Bradford, each of whom have suffered great losses in their lives. Please check out references to them and their current endeavors in other sections of this issue of the Bulletin. We honor and recognize them for their past, present, and future service and sacrifice, as we also honor and thank all of you who continue to sacrifice in serving BVA as an organization, our members, and our families. Guiding Lights, a tribute to the Guardians of Freedom by Stephen D. Butler. Copyright 2024. Beneath vast skies, across the seas, where freedom's call sweeps through the breeze, in fields of strife, in silent watch, our heroes stood, no storm could match. In Army greens, in Navy blues, Marines' bold hearts, Air Force's views, Coast Guard's resolve, so fierce and proud, guarding our coasts, their oath avowed. Space Force dreams, so boldly cast, public health's shield, steadfast and vast. From merchant Marines, their courage drawn, in World War's waves, through night till dawn, their valor shines, like stars above, guiding with light, their boundless love. Now blinded veterans, with sight unseen, carry their scars, where wounds have been. Yet in their spirits, visions clear, of brotherhood and love so dear. Blinded Veterans Association true, with open arms and purpose anew, you heal, support, and softly guide, ensuring no hero is left aside. We give thanks to God for his guidance every step, and the loving spirit of our guide dogs, their courage adept. They walk beside us, ready to face harm, a silent sentinel, our shield and charm. To our friends and families, pillars strong, for bearing with us when things go wrong. In your presence, we find peace, a haven where our angers cease. Oh, hear us sing with grateful voice, For your kind deeds, we all rejoice. In shadows deep, you are the spark that lights the hope in veterans' heart. This poem reflects the profound respect and appreciation for the Blinded Veterans Association and its relentless dedication to supporting blind veterans from every service branch, including the valiant efforts of the U.S. Coast Guard. Their unwavering commitment lights the way forward, just as the stars guide sailors at sea, and just as guide dogs lead those who cannot see. Destination Jacksonville. 3 photos accompany this preview information for the 79th National Convention. The first of the 3 images, a daytime depiction, shows an expansive area made up of a lush series of trees, shrubbery, flower beds, planters, and a concrete walkway with 2 benches in the same general area. In the immediate foreground is a man-made pond. The caption states, "The Jacksonville Zoo and Gardens takes in some 122 acres and houses more than 2,000 animals and 1,000 plant species in its collection. It is a major attraction of Jacksonville with more than 1 million visits annually. The venue's marquee features are the Range of the Jaguar and the Land of the Tiger." Photo courtesy of Visit Jacksonville. The second photo shows a large building of approximately 15 stories in the background portion of the photo. In the foreground is a body of water occupied by a large motorboat with a roof and open areas on both sides of the boat, which appears capable of transporting perhaps 2-3 dozen passengers at a time. A website and phone number are painted on the lower part of the boat on the side, that is at least visible in the photo. The caption describes the photo thus: "The Hyatt Regency Jacksonville riverfront is near the city's iconic Main Street Bridge, providing panoramic river views and walkable access to the heart of downtown Jacksonville. The property features the largest event space in Northeast Florida. It was also the site of the 72nd National Convention in August 2017. The third photo reveals another garden image, but in a setting completely different from that of the first photo. Shrubbery, grass, and several varieties of plants are included. Only one tree, a very tall one, is seen in the background in the middle of the photo. The caption states, "More than 5,000 works of art are now housed at the Cummer Museum of Art and Gardens, established in 1958 when Nina Cummer bequeathed what was then a 60-piece art collection and her riverfront home to create a museum. The historic gardens are set against the backdrop of the St. Johns River." Photo courtesy of Visit Jacksonville. The convention preview begins with the following. Planning and preparation are now in full swing as members of the BVA Board of Directors, headquarters staff, and volunteers prepare for the BVA 79th National Convention at the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville Riverfront in the historic city of Jacksonville, Florida. Official dates for this year's gathering, carried out in partnership and conjunction with the annual convention of the American Council of the Blind, ACB, are July 5th to the 12th, 2024. But BVA-specific events are limited to July 7th to the 10th, Sunday, Wednesday. With a rich history and diverse cultural scene, Jacksonville is known for its museums, art galleries, professional sports, and lively music festivals. The city's extensive park system, including the stunning Timucuan Ecological and Historic Preserve, provides ample recreational activities and exploration opportunities. The city's outskirts also sport beautiful beaches and waterways. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins, have a noteworthy presence in the city, but are unfortunately on the road for the duration of the convention week. BVA registration, which opened on March 15th, costs $150 per BVA member. Auxiliary members, guests, and non-members will also pay the same $150 registration fee. All registrations must be completed online at bva.org. The cost includes a convention bag, a t-shirt, entrance to a joint ACB-BVA exhibit hall, entrance to business meetings on Monday morning and Tuesday afternoon, the Tuesday afternoon Father Carol luncheon and awards ceremony, and the newest addition, a Monday evening BVA gala. An outline of the scheduled events is currently at bva.org/National Convention. To process your registration, visit the National Convention page at bva.org/National Convention and locate the Register Now button. Please note that registrations and payments for off-site trips and activities associated with the convention are processed through ACB. The activities will occur every day except Thursday, July 11th. For any related questions, please contact Janet Dickelman, ACB Convention Chair, at 651-428-5059 or via email at janet.dickelman@gmail.com. The when and where regarding those tours is now available at bva.org/National Convention. Official Notice. Pursuant to the provisions of Article 9, Section 3 of the National Bylaws, all members of the Blinded Veterans Association, BVA, are hereby notified that activities of the association's 79th National Convention will be held at the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville Riverfront, 225 East Coastline Drive, Jacksonville, FL 32204, from Sunday, July 7th through Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. BVA is partnering with the American Council of the Blind, ACB, in hosting this historic gathering. ACB is conducting host off-site tours for interested convention attendees from July 5th to the 12th, 2024. The following details are important for attendees to begin planning their transportation and lodging in Jacksonville. Registration information. BVA members and guests can register and pay online at bva.org/national-convention. Alternatively, members and guests can register by calling 202-371-8880 and speaking with the National Administrative Coordinator or the National Membership Coordinator, or by emailing membership@bva.org. The deadline to register for the convention itself is June 20th, 2024. Although the registration deadline is June 20th, BVA National Headquarters highly encourages members to register earlier to ensure accurate counts on T-shirts, meals, etc. Due to manpower limitations, if you require special assistance of a caregiver, please make the proper arrangements registering the caregiver as a guest. Hotel information. The BVA room rate at the Hyatt Regency Jacksonville Riverfront starts at $99 per night, plus 14.64% tax. The hotel offers complimentary standard Wi-Fi in guest rooms and social spaces, refrigerators in each room, and use of the heated outdoor pool and 24-hour fitness center. The hotel will authorize a one-time $50 charge for the entire stay. Each attendee will need to supply a credit or debit card for the room. The card will not be charged but authorized only for that amount. In the case of a debit card, the funds will be held by the bank until after the guest checks out, if the amount in full is not used. You can reserve your hotel room online or call 800-233-1234 and use code G-ACOB. To receive the group rate, you must register prior to June 10, 2024. Dining options include the Market, Shore Seafood Grill, Tavern, and Morton's the Steakhouse. Way Around will again provide accessible descriptions of the hotel at this year's BVA gathering. Scan a way sign, located underneath ADA signs, with your iPhone or Android device to access an accessible directory of all the spaces used by BVA at the hotel. Be sure to download the free Way Around app for iOS, Android, or Blindshell Classic 2 to access the descriptions using the following QR code. Hotel parking. Self-parking at the hotel is $15 per day. This fee includes day, overnight, and in-out privileges. The garage is on Newnan Street. Transportation to the hotel. Please note that an airport shuttle is not being provided. You will be required to arrange transportation to and from the airport. When you finalize your travel plans, please send your itinerary to Margarine Beeman at OLE05-01625@outlook.com, who will be assisting with navigation to the best of her ability. She will be busy handling arrivals and departures for both organizations. For more additional transportation options, visit the National Convention page. Travel information. For travel assistance, please contact Brenda K. McDaniel, independent travel consultant and daughter of a BVA member, by email at brenda_mcdaniel@sbcglobal.net or by telephone at 915-204-0101 between 11 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Member voting options. Every member shall be eligible to attend and participate in all meetings of the convention and shall be entitled to one vote when present at meetings, or by proxy when absent. If not present or voting by proxy, The vote of the member shall be cast by their elected delegate, if any. The proxy must be a BVA member. The official national headquarters proxy form shall be the only proxy form recognized. Proxy forms must be accepted and validated by national headquarters to be counted. Did you know? The October 1946 BVA Bulletin reveals that the BVA First National Convention was a two-day event held September 20th to 21st, 1946, at the Hotel Lincoln in New York City. It was a Friday-Saturday affair consisting of business meetings, elections, discussions, opportunities to examine a display of equipment, and a closing banquet. At that final event, the tables gleaming with red roses, blue delphiniums, and yellow chrysanthemums stretched the length of 4 great parlors. At every veteran's place there was a gift package of Braille playing cards contributed by the American Red Cross. BVA 79th National Convention Schedule of Events, subject to revision. Sunday, July 7th. BVA Veterans Service Program Office from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Client Office 2. BVA registration open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Daytona Room. Bow Wow Lounge, sponsored by Waymo from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Acosta Room. Exhibit Hall open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the Conference Center AB. 79th National Convention Joint Opening Ceremony from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom. Monday, July 8th. BVA registration open from 8 a.m. until 9 a.m. in the Daytona Room. BVA VSP office from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. in the Client Office 2. Bow Wow Lounge, sponsored by Waymo, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. in the Acosta Room. BVA opening business meeting from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. in River Terrace 2. BVA Auxiliary opening business meeting from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. in City Terrace 8. Exhibit Hall open from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. in Conference Center AB. Bylaws and Resolutions meeting from 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. in River Terrace 2. BVA Auxiliary Committee meetings from 1 p.m. until 3 p.m. in City Terrace 8. Break from 3 p.m. until 3:15 p.m. Fireside Chat River from 3:15 until 4:15 p.m. in River Terrace 2. Break from 4:15 p.m. until 5 p.m. BVA Gala, happy hour from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. in River Terrace 1 foyer. BVA Gala reception from 6 p.m. until 9 p.m. in River Terrace 1 with keynote speaker, Major General Patrick Sargent, USA, retired, Senior Vice President and General Manager, Government Services, Oracle Health. Tuesday, July 9th. BVA Ambassador Breakfast River Terrace. 1. Sponsored by Orcam Technologies, from 7:30 a.m. until 8:45 a.m. in the River Terrace. 1. BVA VSP Office Client from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. in Client Office 2. Bow Wow Lounge, sponsored by Waymo, from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. in Acosta Room. BVA Auxiliary New Business Meeting from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. in City Terrace 8. BVA Board of Directors Membership Open Forum, from 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. in River Terrace 2. Team BVA Outreach Teams Panel from 10:15 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. in River Terrace 2. Exhibit Hall open from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. in the Conference Center AB. Father Carol Luncheon and Awards Ceremony River Terrace 1, sponsored by Inc. Keynote Speaker, Corporal Matthew R. Bradford, USMC, retired, from 12 p.m. until 2 p.m. in River Terrace 1. Break from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. BVA Auxiliary Speaker from 3 p.m. until 4 p.m. in City Terrace 8, with Barbara Webb, 2020, Dole Caregiver Fellow, Elizabeth Dole Foundation, Caring for Military Families, Tricky Tray winners announced. BVA Closing Business Meeting from 3 p.m. until 6 p.m. in River Terrace 2. Break from 6 p.m. until 7 p.m. Florida Regional Group 50th Anniversary Celebration from 7 p.m. until TBA in River Terrace 1. All BVA members invited. Wednesday, July 10th. BVA Auxiliary, National Board of Directors. Breakfast Business Meeting, closed session, from 8 a.m. until 10 a.m. in River Terrace 3. Exhibit Hall open from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. in the Conference Center AB. Frequently asked questions. What is the member cancellation policy? Fully refundable registration cancellations will be honored through June 21, 2024, at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. How do I sign up for off-site events, tours, and activities? Off-site tours are managed by ACB and not BVA. Additional information can be found on ACB's website at acbconvention.org. For any off-site tour questions, you may also contact Janet Dickelman, ACB Convention Chair, at 651-428-5059, or via email at janet.dickelman@gmail.com. Will someone meet me at the airport train station? Volunteers may be available to assist BVA members and guests at the airport. When you finalize your travel plans, please send your itinerary to Margarine Beeman at oleo501625@outlook.com, who will be assisting with navigation with the assistance of available volunteers. Is there a shuttle from the airport to the hotel? No. Members should plan to use Uber or Lyft to and from the airport at their own expense. A taxi is more expensive. ADA transportation is also available through paratransit services. Do the hotel rooms have refrigerators for my medications? Yes. All rooms are equipped with a small refrigerator. What dining options are available at the hotel? The hotel has on-site restaurants with breakfast, lunch, and dinner options. Is there a dog relief area? Yes. Scoopmasters will provide and maintain our dog relief areas. If you would like to pre-order dog food to be delivered to your hotel room, call Tim Stone at 661-714-0749 or order online at scoopmaster.org/ACB. Food must be ordered by June 20th, 2024 to ensure delivery. Also, backed by popular demand, the Bow Wow Lounge sponsored by Waymo will serve as a respite area for our canine heroes throughout the convention. What is the plan in the event of a fire drill or emergency? Volunteers and hotel staff will orient members to the emergency exits, stairwells, and assembly areas near their rooms. Any further questions can be answered at the convention. What meals are included in my registration fee? Monday, dinner at the gala. Tuesday, afternoon lunch at the Father Carroll Luncheon and Awards Ceremony. What if I have additional questions? If you have any additional questions or comments, please contact your district director, national administrative coordinator, or national membership coordinator, or by emailing membership@bva.org. We are excited to celebrate with you in Jacksonville. Important deadlines. May 9. Proposed bylaw amendments must be received by BVA National Headquarters. Amendments should be emailed to membership@bva.org. June 8. Proposed bylaw amendments will be posted at bva.org. June 20th. Final date to register for the convention online or by telephone. June 10th. Final date to reserve a room at the Hyatt Regency Riverfront using the group code. June 20th. Submission deadline for convention registration, delegate credentials, and proxy forms. June 27th. Virtual rules and credentials meeting. Murray Poem exhorts. Convention participation. BVA, 79th National Convention. Jacksonville, Florida, by Warner Murray. The New York Regional Group is on its way to the 79th National Convention of the BVA. The Hyatt Regency Hotel, that exciting place. To the 79th National Convention of the BVA. The Hyatt Regency Hotel, that exciting place. Downtown Jacksonville, Florida, lots of space. This is the convention, all members will mention. Come one, come all, and relax some tension. Let's keep the tradition, and keep the trend. For members, families, caregivers, and friends. Executives, coordinators, directors, and staff. All are very astute in their respective craft. Our challenges are daily for each one of us. Make reservations now, by plane, train, or bus. We will be there, my New York comrades and me, to experience this partnership with the ACB. This is the place they're recognizing the blind. Jacksonville, Florida, let's have a wonderful time. We cherish our progress. There's much more to do. Blinded veterans served under red, white, and blue. Did you know? The BVA First National Convention closing banquet on September 21, 1946, featured the first of what would be dozens of addresses to blinded veterans and their families by the association's national chaplain of 25 years, Reverend Thomas J. Carroll, as he was titled at that time. The speech began, "It is seldom that we have to be reminded of our rights. It is all too often that we fail to remember our duties. Few of us have to be urged on to state our liberties. Most of us easily forget our correlative obligations." Father Carroll went on to discuss three types of duties: duties to self, duties to neighbor, and duties to God. With respect to duties to self, He said there are those who fail to acknowledge them, or at least admit publicly that they consider them, while at the other extreme are those selfish individuals who have no thought save for their own well-being and what they call their self-respect. Somewhere between lies the obligation to self. Included in it is an obligation of self-respect, not the self-respect that is the be-all and the end-all of one set of bourgeois ethics, but a self-respect that demands a recognition of our human dignity and the vocation to which God has called us. March 28th recognizes BVA pioneers past and present. A three-quarter-length photo of a younger-looking gentleman dressed in a polo shirt and seated on what appears to be an exercise bike accompanies this short piece. The man's face, which displays a totally serious look, is aimed directly ahead. The caption states, "The inspiring life of Corporal Matthew Bradford, USMC, retired, is a reminder that giving up on a bright future should never be an option." The article reads thus. At a young 20 years old, Corporal Matthew Bradford was fighting for his life, battling depression and guilt after sustaining life-threatening injuries. It was January 18, 2007, when a bomb planted by an insurgent in Haditha, Iraq, exploded inside a culvert directly underneath his feet. The injuries resulted, among other long-term consequences, in immediate blindness and loss of both legs. Throughout most of his youth, Matt had a strong impression that it was his mission in life to serve others in whatever way he possibly could. As a high school senior, he had enlisted in the Marines as the ultimate means of fulfilling that desire. Now, those hopes for the future seemed dashed. How could he lift others when he himself was so down? Resolving that failure is not getting knocked down but staying down. Now a mantra of his, Matt picked himself up and resumed his mission to lift others, albeit on a somewhat different path. Today, as an exemplary BVA member, his light shines on those who may temporarily see only darkness. He is an example of a blinded veteran who lifts and inspires others to never give up. Matt is a BVA pioneer of the present, blazing a trail for many who now follow his example. He shares the same vision that BVA's nearly 100 founding members seem to possess as they gathered for a much-publicized meeting at Avon Old Farms Army Convalescent Hospital on March 28, 1945. The minutes of the meeting recorded that those assembled, all young men like Matt at the time, were recovering from an assortment of combat injuries. The wound they all shared was their loss of sight. They were BVA's original pioneers with a vision of what they could become both individually and as a group. BVA strives to assist combat-blinded veterans such as Matt and his forebearers who met at Avon Old Farms by connecting them with the benefits, services, and resources that bring about their adjustment to blindness. The organization now seeks to help veterans with at least some remaining vision make similar adjustments in refocusing their lives. Members of the Blinded Veterans Association and their families registered for the 79th National Convention will learn still more about Matt's journey on July 9th at the Father Thomas J. Carroll Memorial Luncheon and Awards Ceremony, where he will be the featured keynote speaker.
BVA's emblem, unveiling a historic treasure. Both a photo and a graphic depiction of the BVA emblem, or seal, accompany this section. The photo reveals 10 men standing together, side by side, in a semicircle in the Oval Office of the White House during the presidency of Harry S. Truman. Standing in the middle of the group, President Truman is holding up a design that faintly shows the BVA emblem. A clear graphic of the emblem is provided near the end of the article in the print version. Although most of the men in the historical photo have a serious expression, the president is smiling broadly. The caption reads, "Left to right at 1948 Insignia Presentation, Lloyd Greenwood, Executive Director, Harrison King, BVA member and resident of Washington, D.C., James Hope, BVA member and resident of Gastonia, North Carolina, Raymond Frey, past national president, Smith Shumway, National Secretary, President Truman, Irvin Schloss, BVA member, and Baltimore resident who later served in multiple BVA leadership roles, Robert Pistol, chairman of the Baltimore Regional Group, Peter McKenna Jr. of Washington, D.C., and also a future national president, and John Brady, then national president, photo courtesy of Abbey Rowe, National Park Service, Harry S. Truman Library." The content of the article reads as follows. The May 1948 issue of the BVA Bulletin recounted a short ceremony at the White House the previous month, April 12th, during which President Harry S. Truman presented the official insignia of the Blinded Veterans Association in the Oval Office to a 9-man delegation representing the organization. At the behest of the BVA leadership and then National Chaplain Thomas J. Carroll, a design was created by artist-sculptor BVA friend Robert Amendola, known also for his work with Father Carroll in the late 1940s in training blinded veterans to accurately conceptualize an unseen environment, known commonly today as orientation. In accepting the emblem, seal, or crest, as it is often referred to, National President Jack Brady declared, "In this emblem, we have tried to express a fact which paradoxically became clearer to us through blindness. Through our years of hospitalization and our close association since that time, we have acquired an insight into the equality of men which we only wish we could pass on to all of our fellow citizens. We have learned that discrimination as to color or creed has no foundation in fact. Blinded veterans have accepted each other simply as fellow human beings with a common problem. When you cannot see, you accept the man you meet on an equal basis, free of all reaction to the color of his skin and of all prejudice as to his religious belief." The context of Brady's words originates from what the emblem actually looks like. To picture the color version, think of a sculptured disc. The face of the disc is a composite of layered symbols inside a red bordered circle. The base is formed by white fluffy clouds. The next layer features a 5-pointed star, with each point reaching out to the edge of the circle. To the right of the top point is a blue Christian cross. To the left of the top point is a blue Star of David. A red broken bayonet runs vertically, centered on top of the 5-pointed star. The top layer of the composite reveals a brown arm reaching from the right and a white arm reaching from the left. In the middle of the emblem, the arms meet in a handshake. Under the hands and the point of the bayonet are the blue uppercase letters B, V, and A. Amendola's design, he said, was meant to represent the people, purpose, and destiny of the Blinded Veterans Association. A vast majority of the BVA membership, the BVA Bulletin reported, wholeheartedly accepted the design at the time. The 5-pointed star symbolizes the 5 branches of the military at the time. The hands emerging from the background of clouds represent blindness. The clasped hands, one white and the other brown, symbolize the unity of races. The broken bayonet stands for the fact that blindness resulted from a service-connected injury. The Star of David and the Christian cross represent the unity of creeds. The initials BVA obviously stand for the Blinded Veterans Association. We have chosen this emblem not only to identify ourselves as men who lost their sight while serving their country, but also to demonstrate to the sighted world our deep conviction of the brotherhood of man, Brady concluded. A disc the size of a dime containing the emblem was presented to each of the 9 BVA members present at the 1948 White House ceremony. After the formal acceptance and photo, the group requested that President Truman accept honorary membership in the BVA, to which he said he would be delighted and accepted a large-size color reproduction of the insignia.
Around BVA. Visions of BVA launches. BVA National Headquarters is pleased to announce the launch on March 15th of a new podcast, Visions of BVA. Dive deep into our inspiring stories, our accounts of resilience, and the achievements of our blind and low-vision veterans. Each episode features interviews, discussions on life-changing technology, and glimpses into the BVA community. Find Visions of BVA on all major podcast platforms and subscribe today. Don't forget to leave your feedback and share your thoughts. To listen to Visions of BVA via the Apple Podcast platform, click here. In the first inspiring episode hosted by Steve Baskus, Visions of BVA delves into the remarkable journey of Corporal Matthew Bradford, who overcame profound challenges after being wounded in Iraq. Born with a deep sense of duty intensified by the terrorist attacks of 9/11, Matthew's life took a dramatic turn when he sustained injuries that resulted in the loss of his legs and his sight. Yet, his unwavering spirit and determination led him to become the first blind double amputee to re-enlist in the Marine Corps. Throughout the interview, Matthew shares his insights on resilience, the power of a supportive community, and his commitment to living a life of purpose and impact, embodying the true essence of never giving up despite life's toughest battles. At press time, the production of the second episode featuring Jeannie and Robert Murphy was also nearing completion. Visions of BVA is accessible via all major podcast platforms. Links to the platforms are available at bva.org/media/visions-of-BVA. More flags, plaques, proclamations for Louisiana, Mississippi Regional Group. A group photo accompanies this subsection of around BVA. 7 individuals are seen standing together, side by side. Judging by the attire and badges of 2 people in the photo, the setting is a VA healthcare facility. Moving left to right, the 5th gentleman has a guide dog. Displayed on an easel in front of the group is a Braille U.S. flag, and above the 7 in the background hangs the designs of the branches of service, minus the Space Force. The caption states, "At Center, Southeast Louisiana Healthcare System." Director Fernando Rivera with Gary Scholerman, accompanied by Bogalusa staff, Joe Burns, and guide dog Kendrick, Joe. Photo courtesy of Gary Scholerman. The content of the subsection begins. The changing of the seasons has ignited the already high energy level of members of the Louisiana, Mississippi Regional Group when it comes to their visibility and demonstrable generosity in local communities of both of the states they cover. They continue their quest to place bronze Braille American flags and accompanying plaques throughout Louisiana, at the same time securing proclamations honoring National Blinded Veterans Day from the Louisiana governor and several cities in Louisiana and Mississippi. On March 11th, a flag and plaque were presented to Brian Freeman, administrator of the Southeast Louisiana Veterans Home and Reserve, Louisiana. The Veterans Home is one of 5, managed by the Louisiana Department of Veterans Affairs, and houses more than 125 veterans and their spouses. 2 of the 5 now have Braille flags. On March 28th, the regional group dedicated another flag, this one sponsored by the Lafayette Lions Club, to the Lafayette City Parish Government. Accepting both the flag and plaque was Mayor Monique Blanco-Boulet, who in turn presented Regional Group Secretary Shantina Gibson with a proclamation for Blinded Veterans Day. Tuesday, April 9th, was an especially busy day and night. Yet another flag was presented to the Bogalusa, Louisiana, VA community-based outpatient clinic. The donation was sponsored by NOH3, a nonprofit organization that has partnered with the regional group in other activities. NOH3 is home of the New Orleans Hash House Harriers, a drinking club with a running problem. Present were Southeast Louisiana Healthcare System Director Fernando Rivera and the clinic's staff. That evening, the group presented a flag to Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, Mayor Ricky Calais, at a scheduled city council meeting. The flag and plaque were sponsored by the Breaux Bridge American Legion Post 578. On April 19th, regional group members Joe Burns and Gary Scholerman, the masterminds behind most of the donations and sponsorships, spoke to the Metairie Mid-City Lions Club about BVA, what VA offers for low-vision veterans, and the Braille Flag Project. After some deliberation, the club's chapter determined to purchase 2 acrylic Braille flags to be placed in the local public libraries. 4 organizations in the St. Martin Parish of Louisiana, Breaux Bridge Lions Club, the Parks American Legion Post 289, the St. Martin's Rotary Club, and the Joie de Vivre Theresian Group, had previously offered to sponsor acrylic flags mounted on 16x22 boards for the parish's 4 public libraries. The Lafayette Kiwanis Club has notified the regional group of its interest and intent to donate a bronze flag and a plaque to the main Lafayette Public Library. If all the current plans materialize, this will bring the total number of Braille flags to 40 that the Louisiana-Mississippi Regional Group has donated in the last 3.5 years, said Gary. We are predicting that this total will reach 50 by year's end. First ever Space Force veteran joins BVA at Winter Sports Clinic. A photo also accompanies this subsection. The image has been edited to remove the background so that there is nothing but white behind the photo subjects. At left is a light-colored dog, followed by a lady who is speaking with a gentleman wearing a baseball cap, and who is also smiling broadly. He is wearing a name badge that includes the letters WSC. Directly in front of the lady is an Apple laptop computer that has been elevated from the surface of a table by some type of adaptive equipment. The caption explains the photo as follows. With Ambassador Donald looking on, Teresa Galgano uses her laptop at the Winter Sports Clinic to welcome Jeffrey Hockett as the first ever Space Force veteran to join BVA. The The short blurb begins. More than 70 blind and low vision veterans participated April 7 in the annual National Disabled Veterans Winter Sports Clinic, WSC, at Snowmass Village in Aspen, Colorado. That number fortuitously included BVA National Membership Coordinator Teresa Galgano, who was there to sign up Jeffrey A. Hockett of Missouri City, Texas, as the association's first ever Space Force veteran BVA member. The new memberships became official following a special April 6 meeting organized by Boise, Idaho, VA Blind Rehabilitation Outpatient Specialist Barbara Fultz, WSC Director Teresa Parks, and Anthony Woodson, President of the BVA Illinois Regional Group. According to Teresa Galgano, the newest BVA members are beneficiaries of the association's offer of free membership to the first 100 blind or low vision veterans who join BVA in connection with a generous recent gift by an anonymous donor. A world leader in rehabilitation, the WSC provides nearly 400 profoundly disabled veterans with training and rehabilitation every year. Ambassadors continue to shine via weekly BVA happenings. This subsection of Around BVA is accompanied by a close-up photo of an average-sized guide dog looking directly ahead toward the camera. The dog is lying horizontally with head up on a cushion. Because there is so little background, it is not possible to determine what the cushion is, but it appears to be a full bed. The caption states, Guide Dog Kent during March 17th Los Angeles Marathon. BVA's weekly electronic newsletter, BVA Happenings, initiated the Ambassador Scoop series with the start of the new year. The series features guide dogs that have become significant in the lives of association members and their families. The dogs are humanized for the purposes of the series, as they offer BVA news, tips, and guidance from their perspective. First up in the series in January was guide dog Donald of Fort Myers, Florida, Teresa Galgano. Otavio Tavi of Clayton, North Carolina, Yoneka Trent, was featured in February. Kent of Warren, Rhode Island, Rob Sanchez, and picture here, was the ambassador for March, while G. Arsenio Cordero, and Nora, Sheldon McKinney, received editorial space in April and May, respectively. If you are a BVA member and interested in having your dog participate in the Ambassador Scoop series, scheduled to run at least throughout 2024, please send a message via email with your contact information and a brief introduction of your dog to bvalbiva.org. BVA New Member Series connects veterans. BVA launched its successful new member Zoom meeting series in February and has continued on the fourth Monday of each month from 1 p.m. until 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is a great opportunity for new members to learn about BVA, meet their peers, and ask questions. What to expect at the meeting? Hear from BVA veterans service officers about the benefits and services for which they are eligible. Learn about BVA's history and organizational structure. Meet other new members and share experiences. Receive a tour of the BVA website and learn how to navigate resources. The BVA New Members Series is not limited to just new members. All BVA members, new and old, are welcome to attend. This is a great opportunity to connect with other veterans and learn more about BVA. Clinical trial promotes BVA-DOT partnership. The accompanying photo reveals men seated around an oblong table and a fifth person, a lady, barely visible through a laptop screen at the back of the photo. The gentleman at the bottom far left shows no more than a head. Only the gentleman at the top right is without a laptop computer. The caption reads, Pictured from top left and moving clockwise, BVA Executive Director Donald Overton, National Development Director Meredith Buono de Grossa via Zoom, Deputy National Legislative Director Alec Libin, Dr. Woo Sung Hwang, and Woo Jin Hwang. The short blurb begins. On April 30th, BVA hosted representatives from Korean-based DOT Inc. at the association's national headquarters. Dr. Woo Sung Hwang of DOT's Board of Directors and Woo Jin Hwang, the company's vice president, discussed joint efforts with the BVA leadership surrounding the upcoming DOT-PAD clinical trial and the status of the corporate partnership between DOT and BVA. The clinical trial, which will involve blind and low-vision veterans, seeks to harness the transformative capabilities of the DOT-PAD technology showcased at the two most recent BVA national conventions. It will mark pivotal advancements in a collaborative mission to enhance the quality of life for veterans with visual impairments. The partnership is also poised to drive significant advancements in rehabilitation technologies and overall veteran care. It is a shining example of a valued relationship and loyal support of BVA's mission to assist blind and low-vision veterans, their families, and caregivers as they rise to the challenges of sight loss. Emerald Coast participates in Vet Center Ribbon Cutting. The accompanying photo, taken on a sunny day in front of a building labeled Vet Center, reveals more than 20 individuals standing together side by side during a ceremony that involves a large ribbon. However, the small size of the photo does not allow any faces to be clearly recognized. Several of the subjects are seen holding a small portion of the aforementioned ribbon. The caption reads thus: Daryl Goldsmith, at center with BVA garrison cap and polo shirt, reaches to touch ribbon about to be cut at Pensacola Vet Center inauguration. The short news blurb begins. Emerald Coast Regional Group President Daryl Goldsmith represented BVA at an official ribbon-cutting ceremony on March 30th at the recently completed Pensacola, Florida Vet Center. Unlike VA medical centers and community-based outpatient clinics that focus on physical health issues, vet centers offer mental health-centric services. Daryl was joined at the March 30 ceremony by Florida State Representative Michelle Salzman, Vet Center Director Douglas Rush, McQueen, Ph.D., the center's Veterans Outreach Program Specialist, VOPS, Alberto Velez, U.S. Army, RET, in addition to staff from the local VA clinic, the VA National Cemetery Administration, the Honor Her Foundation of Northwest Florida, and veterans who served in Korea, Vietnam, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Enduring Freedom, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Despite the recentness of the ribbon cutting, the new Pensacola Vet Center began operating in August of 2023. It is one of more than 300 vet centers nationwide, and also has up to 300 active clients in counseling at a given time. Hundreds more are served each year with outreach and referral services, which are the core elements of the center's mission. The center's leadership is also generous in providing the space for the Emerald Coast Regional Group to hold its regular meetings. Every Tuesday, Daryl participates in the Guitars for Vets initiative at the Pensacola Center. In this program, which partners with VA vet centers, veterans with PTSD-related symptoms learn to play the guitar to help recover, grow, and thrive. Daryl first signed up for Guitars for Vets when it was introduced at the BVA 74th National Convention in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in 2019. Slow to get off the ground because of the COVID-19 pandemic, hundreds of veterans nationwide are now participating with new guitars provided by Guitars for Vets, which also functions as a non-profit organization with 130 chapters in 40 states. Vet centers were created in 1979 after it was determined that Vietnam veterans had sustained readjustment difficulties after coming home from war. Since the first vet centers started up around the country, they have been offering individual, group, and family therapy, military sexual trauma, MST, employment assessment, and drug and alcohol treatment. If a veteran or a family member has been deployed at any time to a combat zone, they are eligible for vet center services. MIMS's KC Neighbor accepts. Braille flag at veteran's home. The composition of the photo that accompanies this subsection includes a gentleman in a motorized chair at the front. In back of him, standing, are two gentlemen on each side of a lady standing in the middle. The man at the far right is shown with a black guide dog. All are dressed in casual attire with the three gentlemen all wearing matching baseball caps. The man in the chair and the man at the far right above him are, together, performing an action explained in the caption as follows. Back row, left to right. Bill Laughlin, Carolyn Graham, and Paul Mims with guide dog Shadow. Frank Graham is seated in the motorized chair, and the two, together, hold up the Braille flag. Further details are offered as follows. On April 30th, BVA National President Paul Mims delivered a Braille flag to the Veterans Home in Cameron, Missouri, approximately an hour from his home in Kansas City. The donation was made on behalf of the Heartland Regional Group and as a tribute to his longtime neighbor and friend, Frank Graham, now a resident of the home. Accompanying Paul on the trip to Cameron was Frank's wife, Carolyn, with fellow neighbor, friend, and Air Force veteran Bill Laughlin, who agreed to drive the three of them the approximately 55 miles to the northeast to visit Frank and present the flag. I've known Frank since I moved back to Kansas City 15 years ago, and that's really where my idea to do this originated, said Paul. I wanted to do something on behalf of my regional group and at the same time honor Frank for his service with something special to me. Although the ultimate destination of the flag within the facility had still not been determined at newsletter press time, word was that it would likely be placed in the Veterans Home Chapel. BVA offers support to Waymo service in LA. BVA recently joined 14 other organizations in signing an open letter publicly supporting the state of California's approval of Waymo's ride-hailing autonomous vehicle service for the city of Los Angeles. The letter, dated April 28th, attests to Waymo as a safe and trustworthy mode of transit that can both make city roads safer while addressing gaps in the system that leave disabled and elderly community members behind. To read the open letter, visit https://waymo.com open letter safety in LA. April-May, meetings, a springboard to earlier national convention. An accompanying photo reveals, left to right, 3 gentlemen and a lady in casual attire. The man third from the left is wearing an open vest and a BVA garrison cap. He is also holding the harness of his guide dog, which is also visible in the image. The background is nothing more than a light-colored wall. The caption states, "Left to right, BVA Auxiliary National President Robert Murphy, Jared Prisbray, Paul Mims, and Heartland Regional Group President Jeannie Murphy." The 2-paragraph blurb begins, "Regional groups throughout the country were on the move in April and May to hold spring meetings to determine which members of the group will attend the BVA 79th National Convention and to elect convention delegates and alternate delegates. The urgency is, at least in part, due to the early July convention dates. The Heartland Regional Group, for example, met in Des Moines, Iowa, April 25th and 26th. Highlighting the meeting was an in-person appearance and presentation to the group by Jared Prisbray, Vice President of Business Development with Honor Alert, and a guest on VetTech's weekly Wednesday webinar on March 20th. Jared promotes Honor Alert's Liberty Service, the mobile medical alert system that provides emergency support services 24/7 through VA at no cost. There are no requirements to have either a landline or mobile telephone. Auxiliaries view by Robert Murphy. A thumbnail cut of a smiling Robert Murphy is provided with the following auxiliary information. The head and shoulders photo taken at 180 degrees reveals Robert dressed in a sport coat but without a tie. There is no caption. The auxiliaries view reads, BVAA 2024 Convention Agenda. Sunday, July 7th, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. BVA, ACB Opening Ceremony. Monday, July 8th, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Opening Business Meeting. Welcome by the National President. Minutes of the preceding national meeting. Correspondence. Treasurer's Report. Vice President's Report. Reporter's Report. Membership Committee Report. Bylaws Committee Report. Unfinished Business. Committee Appointments. Membership. Bylaws. Scholarship. Budget and Finance. 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Committee Meetings. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. BVA Gala. Tuesday, July 9th. 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. New Business. Committee Reports. Election of National Officers. Installation of National Officers. 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Father Carroll Luncheon Awards Ceremony. 3 p.m. to 3:10 p.m. Tricky Trade Drawing. 3:10 p.m. to 4 p.m. Guest Presentation. Barbara Webb, Elizabeth Dole Foundation. 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Good and Welfare. 5:15 p.m. Adjournment. Veterans Service Program Update by Dwayne Driscoll. Dwayne's VSP update includes his customary thumbnail photo. The image reveals Dwayne wearing a long-sleeved shirt with the BVA name and logo above the left pocket. A coarse brick background is visible immediately behind him. There is no accompanying caption. The text of the write-up reads as follows. We often discuss disability compensation benefits for veterans with service-connected blindness here, but many BVA members receive pension benefits. Per the v.gov website, pension is a tax-free benefit paid to wartime veterans with limited or no income, who are either age 65 or older, or who are permanently and totally disabled due to a non-service-connected cause. Seriously disabled or housebound veterans receiving pension may also qualify for aid and attendance or housebound benefits. Generally, pension eligibility requires at least 90 days, about 3 months, of active duty service, with at least one of those days during wartime, as recognized by VA regulation for veterans serving prior to September 8, 1980. For those serving after September 7, 1980, the claimant must have served at least 24 months, or the full period for which they were ordered active service if less than 2 years, also with at least 1 day during wartime. This service must be other than dishonorable. The claimant must also demonstrate permanent and total disability, such as vision loss, be a patient in a nursing home, or receive Social Security disability insurance or supplemental security income. This requirement may also be met by attaining age 65. Additionally, the claimant must meet income and net worth requirements set by Congress. Net worth includes all household personal property and assets, except for the home of residence, automobile, and most home furnishings. Income includes any payment from the Social Security Administration, SSA, retirement, or any other source for all persons in the household. Currently, the basic pension rate for a single veteran with no dependents is $16,551 per year, and the aid in attendance (A&A) rate is $27,609. The basic rate for a married veteran is $21,674, and the A&A rate goes up to $32,629 for that same individual. There are additional amounts for dependent children, but there is no A&A rate for a non-veteran spouse. VA deducts any other household income, such as Social Security benefits, from the rates mentioned above, and net worth, which includes household income, may not exceed $155 or $350. Out-of-pocket medical expenses not reimbursed by insurance or any other source may be used to offset annual household income. Because of these income limitations, VA requires prompt reporting of any changes in household income, whether caused by marriage, divorce, new SSA benefits, annuities, or winning the lottery. Income is income. It is very easy to overlook the reporting of changes in income or household status, causing overpayment. Please contact the Veterans Service Program, VSP, immediately to report any changes in income or marital status. We would much prefer to see a compensation award, which most often has no income limitations and usually pays more. VA will pay the greater benefit when eligible for both pension and compensation. If you wish for a review of your records for a possible compensation claim, please do not hesitate to contact the VSP. A glimpse of the big picture. Photo by Meredith Bueno de Grossa. Meredith's column is accompanied by a new Head & Shoulders thumbnail image without a caption. Smiling, she appears to be dressed in formal business attire that includes a necklace. The page-long column begins, "As BVA's National Development Director, I am afforded the opportunity to steward donors, build and develop partnerships with corporate partners, and oversee BVA events such as our annual convention. These interactions are not only rewarding, but allow me to personally connect with friends and stakeholders who play a crucial role in supporting BVA's mission of providing services, benefits, and renewed independence to blind and low-vision veterans, their families, and caregivers." March of 2024 presented 2 new opportunities in my tenure at BVA that profoundly impacted me and reinforced what I do every day. On March 6th, I was invited to join our national president, Paul Mims, and his guide dog, Shadow, to witness his legislative testimony before a joint session of the House and Senate Committees on Veterans Affairs. Paul passionately presented the following priorities: establishing a Veterans Advisory Committee on equal access, overseeing compliance with transportation services, enhancing caregiver program clinical standards, supporting VA blind rehabilitation service funding, safeguarding ocular clinical standards of care, enhancing veterans' mental health care, improving programs and services for women veterans, enacting protections for guide and service dogs, supporting vision research funding, and honoring combat-disabled veterans. In addition, I joined our Executive Committee and Government Relations team in Washington, D.C., to meet with several members and staff of the 2 congressional committees. We met personally with Senate Committee Chairman John Tester, DMT, and Ranking Member Jerry Moran, RKS. These visits reinforced the legislative testimony that Paul presented previously and laid the groundwork for the association's efforts to generate action on behalf of blind and low-vision veterans during the time remaining in the 118th Congress. To put it plainly, these visits made me proud to be part of an organization that fights for improving the quality of life for blind and low-vision veterans. Because of BVA's congressional charter, we are afforded opportunities like these to engage Congress to create new opportunities for veterans, as well as reinforce already enacted legislation. Opportunities to connect with these entities on Capitol Hill and the VA Central Office are essential to educating, advocating, and moving our mission forward. It was an honor to be a part of these visits. They only ignited my commitment to give 100% to BVA every day. Furthermore, these experiences provide me with the knowledge to communicate to our stakeholders the importance of their support. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts and reflections as I expand my perspectives and hence my vision of BVA's potential and what we can all do better to contribute to this great collaborative effort. I look forward to connecting with you all at the 79th National Convention in Jacksonville. Recipe for Aging Well by Pascal Baute. Train your brain to remain sane. To remain sane, count your blessings. Skip 24/7 cable news. Be regular in your self-care. Avoid family arguments. Learn many ways to be kind to your mind. Have daily goals for yourself. Develop a purpose for your life. Refuse to give free rent. Recognize that you are the captain of your ship and determine each moment that is received in that mechanism between your ears. Beauty, like ugliness, is in the eye of the beholder. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Invite grace to be part of your lifestyle. Push your envelope some way every day. Remain curious about many things. Encourage friendship. Marry well and keep him or her awesome. Appreciate that you are a piece of divine mystery. Practice kindness. Respect feelings. Stop having to be right. Never hold grudges or store hurts. We choose our reality every day. Remember, our muscular system is what keeps us young. Forgive everyone, even ex-partners, parents, children, and siblings. Complaining is like new rain on flooded water. Stop correcting people. Complaining is a waste of time and energy. Exercise regularly, walking or swimming. Recognize that to live is to suffer. Stop expecting the world to be fair, playing the self-pleasuring, ain't it awful mind game. Change why me to why not me. Practice living in the present moment. Dance and laugh a lot at the absurdities of life. Pray for some wisdom. Dr. Pascal Baute is a 94-year-old BVA member of the Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, OKI, regional group. He has authored 40 books with themes such as gratitude, resilience, and wellness. He served in the military for 23 years, enlisted and commissioned, active and reserve, all branches, but the longest as a Navy chaplain. He earned his doctorate in education at the University of Pennsylvania in 1967. He was inducted into the Kentucky Veterans Hall of Fame Honor Roll, class of 2018, for outstanding military and community service. Of note, HHS rule strengthens protections for people with disabilities. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, last week, has finalized a rule under Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 that prohibits discrimination on the basis of disability, advancing equity, and bolstering protections for people with disabilities. BVA was among a number of organizations openly supporting the additional protections, which address discrimination in medical treatment, add enforceable standards for accessible medical diagnostic equipment, and ensure accessible web content and mobile applications. The rule, detailed in a news release dated May 1st, strengthens the protections afforded by Section 504, already considered a landmark civil rights law. Its finalization, comprehensive in scope, reflects a now much different era from that of 1973 in the area of equality. This is truly a milestone victory for disability communities, said Don Overton. We overwhelmingly support this final rule for all it means to our blind and low-vision veterans who must never experience discrimination due to their disability in any program or activity receiving funding from HHS. The VA Initiative to Protect Veterans and Their Families. The VA has announced the launching on May 31st of the Veterans Affairs Servicing Purchase, VASP program, that will help tens of thousands of veterans currently experiencing severe financial hardship avoid home foreclosure and remain in the home. The program is a last resort tool in VA's comprehensive suite of home retention options for eligible veterans, active duty service members, and surviving spouses with VA-guaranteed home loans who are unable to meet their mortgage obligations. Under VASP, VA will purchase defaulted VA loans from mortgage services, modify the loans, and place them in the VA-owned portfolio as direct loans. VA will then be able to work directly with eligible veterans to adjust their loans and their monthly payments in order to keep their homes. When a veteran falls on hard times, we work with them and their loan servicers every step of the way to help prevent foreclosure, including repayment plans, loan modifications, and more, said VA Undersecretary for Benefits Josh Jacobs. But some veterans still need additional support after those steps, and that's what VASP is all about in offering an additional payment option. NLS offers wealth of resources to help veterans and their families. The National Library Service for the Blind and Print Disabled, NLS of the Library of Congress, has produced a 3-section mini-bibliography containing programs and services for veterans in the areas of healthcare, insurance, education, and finances. In Section 1, general guides discuss the needs and challenges facing veterans and their families. Section 2 contains resource guides that provide specific information about programs. Section 3 consists of a series of articles about the history of the programs. All recorded titles are available on digital cartridge and/or using BARD, Braille and Audio Reading Download, which allows registered patrons to download digital talking books and audio magazines. Digital Braille is also available on BARD. BVA PR communications team welcomes ideas and submissions. Blind and low-vision veterans and their regional groups interested in reporting local events and submitting photos to BVA happenings and the Bulletin are highly encouraged to do so via info@bva.org. Although it is not necessary to compose an article in its entirety, please include, at a minimum, the following information as a starting point for the editorial staff: dates of the event or activity, locations of the event or activity, full names of the people in the photo, unless it is a group of 8 or more. Purpose of the event and its relevance to the association. Please note that BVA National Headquarters frequently receives photos from a significant regional group event with information of no more than a line or 2. In order to prioritize newsworthy items before each deadline, we need the basics of the story before seeking additional details. Additionally, a predetermined timeline and a wealth of content from which to choose makes it impossible to guarantee inclusion of an entry in a given week. In remembrance. The Blinded Veterans Association deeply regrets the passing of the following veterans: Carolina R.G. Blondell Robinson, Florida R.G. Jerry Holnagel, Indiana R.G. David Gaither, Michigan R.G. Jerry Locks, Mid-Atlantic R.G. William Schott, Midwest North R.G. Robert Jones, Pennsylvania R.G. James Quilter, Tennessee R.G. Charles Robbins, BVA members at large, no regional group affiliation: Emmanuel Cady, P.J. Scott, Douglas Lair. Final thought. The focus of this issue's final thought is a nighttime color photo of a breathtaking downtown fountain that is displayed in all blue and enhanced by 2 palm trees with lights, 1 tree on each side of the fountain. The background consists of other city buildings that also light up the night sky. The final thought is expressed as follows: attendees of the BVA 79th National Convention will not want to miss visiting the Friendship Fountain in St. John's River Park on the river's south bank 6 blocks from the Hyatt Regency. The fountain, pictured here, flows from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. daily, with nightly shows at 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. When the park opened in 1965, the fountain was the world's largest and tallest, capable of spraying 17,000 gallons of water in a minute, to a height of 120 feet. Accentuated by colored lights at night, the fountain is a popular tourist destination and local recreation site. Wheelchair accessible with adjacent picnic tables in the park, the venue offers a scenic view of downtown Jacksonville and access to the South Bank Riverwalk. The Jacksonville Maritime Museum is located on the Riverwalk, adjacent to the northeast corner of the park. Photo courtesy of Ryan Ketterman. Visit Jacksonville. And this concludes the audio version of the Spring 2024 BVA Bulletin.